The point is that the aim of our work must be not to just have a few do well, but to have everybody have a chance. Everybody who is willing to work for it have the ability to dream big and then reach those dreams. Our nations are strongest when we uphold the equality of all our people, and that includes our women. Now, you may have noticed, I'm married to a very strong and talented woman. Michelle is not afraid to speak her mind, or tell me when I'm wrong, which happens frequently. And we have 2 beautiful daughters, so I'm surrounded by smart, strong women. And in raising our girls, we've tried to instill in them basic values, a sense of compassion for others. And respect for themselves. And the confidence that they can go as far as their imaginations and abilities will carry them. And as part of Michelle's work as First Lady, she's met with women and girls around the world. Including here in India, to let them know that America believes in them, too. In the United States, we're still working to make sure that women and girls have all the opportunities they deserve, and that they're treated equally. And we have some great role models, including here today the former Speaker of our House of Representatives Nancy Pelosi, the first woman Speaker of the House, and my great partner. And here in India, it's the wives and the mothers who so often hold families and communities together. Indian women have shown that they can succeed in every field, including government. Where many of your leaders are women. And the young women who are here today are part of a new generation that is making your voice heard. and standing up and determined to play your part in India's progress. And here's what we know. We know from experience that nations are more successful when their women are successful. When girls go to school, this is one of the most direct measures of whether a nation is going to develop effectively is how it treats its women. When a girl goes to school, it doesn't just open up her young mind. It benefits all of us because maybe someday she'll start her own business, or invent a new technology, or cure a disease. And when women are able to work, families are healthier. And communities are wealthier, and entire countries are more prosperous. And when young women are educated, then their children are going to be well educated and have more opportunity. So if nations really want to succeed in today's global economy, they can't simply ignore the talents of half their people. And as husbands and fathers and brothers, we have to step up because every girl's life matters. Every daughter deserves the same chance as our sons. Every woman should be able to go about her day, to walk the streets or ride the bus and be safe. And be treated with respect and dignity. She deserves that. And one of the favorite things about this trip for me has been to see all these incredible Indian women in the armed forces. Including the person who commanded the guard that greeted me when I arrived. It's remarkable, and it's a sign of great strength and great progress. Our nations are strongest when we see that we are all gods. Children all equal in his eyes and worthy of his love. Across our two great countries we have Hindus and Muslims, Christians and Sikhs. And Jews and Buddhists and Jains and so many faiths. And we remember the wisdom of Gandhiji, who said, "For me, the different religions are beautiful flowers from the same garden, or they are branches of the same majestic tree." Our freedom of religion is written into our founding documents. It's part of America's very first amendment. Your Article 25 says that all people are equally entitled to freedom of conscience and the right freely to profess, practice and propagate religion. In both our countries, in all countries, upholding this fundamental freedom is the responsibility of government. But it's also the responsibility of every person. In our lives, Michelle and I have been strengthened by our Christian faith. But there have been times where my faith has been questioned by people who don't know me. Or they've said that I adhere to a different religion, as if that were somehow a bad thing. Around the world, we've seen intolerance and violence and terror perpetrated by those who profess to be standing up for their faith, but, in fact, are betraying it. No society is immune from the darkest impulses of man. And too often religion has been used to tap into those darker impulses as opposed to the light of God. "3 years ago in our state of Wisconsin, back in the United States, a man went to a Sikh temple and in a terrible act of violence, killed 6 innocent people, Americans and Indians. and in that moment of shared grief, our two countries reaffirmed a basic truth. As we must again today, that every person has the right to practice their faith how they choose. Or to practice no faith at all, and to do so free of persecution and fear and discrimination. The peace we seek in the world begins in human hearts. And it finds its glorious expression when we look beyond any differences in religion or tribe. And rejoice in the beauty of every soul. And nowhere is that more important than India. Nowhere is it going to be more necessary for that foundational value to be upheld. India will succeed so long as it is not splintered along the lines of religious faith. So long as it's not splintered along any lines and is unified as one nation. And it's when all Indians, whatever your faith, go to the movies and applaud actors like Shah Rukh Khan. And when you celebrate athletes like Milkha Singh or Mary Kom. And every Indian can take pride in the courage of a humanitarian who liberates boys and girls from forced labor. And exploitation who is here today, Kailash Satyarthi, our most recent winner of the Nobel Prize for Peace. So that's what unifies us. Do we act with compassion and empathy? Are we measured by our efforts by what Dr. King called the content of our character rather than the color of our skin or the manner in which we worship our God? In both our countries, in India and in America, our diversity is our strength. And we have to guard against any efforts to divide ourselves along sectarian lines or any other lines. And if we do that well, if America shows itself as an example of its diversity and yet the capacity to live together and work together in common effort, in common purpose. If India, as massive as it is, with so much diversity, so many differences is able to continually affirm its democracy, that is an example for every other country on earth. That's what makes us world leaders, not just the size of our economy or the number of weapons we have. But our ability to show the way in how we work together, and how much respect we show each other. And, finally, our nations are strongest when we empower our young people, because ultimately, you're the one who has to break down these old stereotypes and these old barriers, these old ways of thinking. Prejudices and stereotypes and assumptions, those are what happens to old minds like. Mine. I'm getting gray hair now. I was more youthful when I first started this office. And that's why young people are so important in these efforts. Here in India, most people are under 35 years old. And India is on track to become the world's most populous country. So young Indians like you aren't just going to define the future of this nation, you're going to shape the world. Like young people everywhere, you want to get an education, and find a good job, and make your mark. And it's not easy, but in our two countries, it's possible. Remember, Michelle and I don't come from wealthy backgrounds or famous families. Our families didn't have a lot of money. We did have parents and teachers and communities that cared about us. And with the help of scholarships and student loans, we were able to attend some of best schools of the world. Without that education, we wouldn't be here today. So whether it's in America, or here in India, or around the world, we believe young people like you ought to have every chance to pursue your dreams, as well. So as India builds new community colleges, we'll link you with our own. So more young people graduate with the skills and training to succeed. We'll increase collaborations between our colleges and universities. And help create the next India Institute of Technology. We'll encourage young entrepreneurs who want to start a business. And we'll increase exchanges, because I want more American students coming to India. And more Indian students coming to America. And that way, we can learn from each other and we can go further. Because one other thing we have in common: Indians and Americans are some of the hardest working people on earth. And I've seen that, Michelle, and I have seen that in a family here in India. I just want to tell you a quick story. On our last visit here, we visited Humayun's tomb. And while we were there, we met some of the laborers who are the backbone of this nation's progress. We met their children and their families as well, and some wonderful young children with bright smiles, sparks in their eyes. And one of the children we met was a boy named Vishal.